I took pictures of a friend's wedding. All right. I kept all my files together on one hard drive and I had it connected. I remember I was downloading a software, and in that process, I had to compromise my firewall because it wasn't allowing me. And then, I felt that this site was trusted, so I could download it. I downloaded it and I realized that the tabs were opening multiples over the laptop. But I felt that maybe it was a glitch. So I closed them and it came back. Set of weddings. Anytime I feel exhausted, I have to sleep. You'll come back to realize that what you did when you were tired, you probably have to start all the way from the top or make certain adjustments to it. So the creative block is natural. At a point, you might realize that your work looks too stale, too consistent. Sometimes you just have to sit back, relax, watch videos, inspire yourself. There's Pinterest. There are a lot of creatives creating profiles over there, sharing their content. Sometimes watch a film, because when I watch a film, if you sit next to me to watch a film, we might not end a 2-hour film 2 hours.
Hello everyone, my name is Ebenezer Amakwentri, and this is the Diary of a Creative, where we discuss issues beyond the lens in the creative industry. And to remind you that this program is sponsored by Christocentric Rentals. If you need any camera equipment, it can be something as SD card. You go to them, they'll get some for you. If you need a camera battery, they have some for you to rent. And I keep saying that their customer service is top notch. Visit them and you will testify. So today, the subject we are going to talk about is a subject that is very deep. I believe it goes beyond creatives. Just that today we are specific in the creative space, but the subject goes beyond creatives. It is something that every individual at a point in your life, you sit back and ask yourself some of these questions. Today we are going to talk about the subject, finding your passion and purpose as a creative. The space, we have a lot going on in the space, but how do you know that this is where I have to be, and what does it take to get there? And the person we have is, I would say that he is the human explanation of this subject. And it's no other than Kobbyshots. So my brother, you welcome.
Thank you so much. Wonderful intro.
Kobby.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. We are still involved in the space, the loop. We keep on creating and keeping on creating. So, I'm doing great.
Okay. There's a fun question. Should I say fun? But someone who says that you are someone that he likes a lot, follows your work. But there's this question he wants us to ask you. He said that, have you stopped shooting weddings? And if it is yes, why? If no, then we can. Yeah.
Okay. Weddings, yes. There was a time that I actually put out a video on my YouTube channel where I spoke about the fact that shooting weddings were getting very stale. As in, all that I was seeing was the same thing, day after day. So I was getting a little bit bored of it. And so I pulled back. Still, I'm not shooting as much. I would say not as much because once in a while, because there are some friends you can't tell no to. They want you. They are keenly wanting you to shoot.
To come and shoot.
Exactly, shoot their wedding. So, for the most part, I don't. But when I get the chance to shoot it, I still steal it as an opportunity to just revisit what I once actually loved so much. The reason being that weddings, I realized that it was always like the same thing. You go for the bridal, dress up, the church, same recurring stuff. And with time constraints as well, as a creative, you always need time to put up your best. Unless maybe you are just trying to do something right over the top of your head or something like that, or just get away with a couple of things. But if you are looking at creating something substantial, most often than not, you need a lot of time. But in our space here in Ghana or in our region where creatives find it so difficult to thrive, time constraints are a very big enemy to us as creatives. So I've realized that in shooting weddings, when you want to take your time to shoot the bride, when they are dressing up, maybe you want some particular shots, some certain angles. That's when the mother-in-law is coming in to tell you that, photographers can't have all the time in the world to shoot the pictures. Most often too, the makeup artists are the ones who are going to steal most of the time. Probably they might not arrive early, and you're going to be the first person to be there and the last person to leave. Yet you don't get the luxury to do what you want. So it was all about that. And also most often you realize that your equipment, if you're not careful, you might not be able to take good care of them because you are rushing to the church. Sometimes, it's a lot of stuff. Creatives and photographers who shoot weddings will attest to this, that all these things combined, it drained me a lot and I wasn't really enjoying it. So I took a step back.
Okay. When you say, so you were not enjoying
because
it was draining you?
Yeah, it was draining me.
But people were enjoying it.
Yes. People really were. Really were. Because I put my heart and efforts into everything that I do. And so when I'm creating it and even I'm constrained with time, I would say, for the most part, it wasn't really helping me out. But I'll also say on the flip side, it pushed me beyond my limits to be more creative with the little amount of time that I was exposed to. Yes. So the pictures come out, people enjoy it. They love the pictures. But if I would tell you the truth, I would say that I'm not really, really, really happy with it because I could have done more if I had more time.
Are you a photographer, a videographer, filmmaker, or a content creator? Are you looking for the perfect shot without breaking the bank? Look no further. Christocentric Rentals has got you covered. At Christocentric Rentals, we provide top-notch cameras and gears from the world's leading brands. We have Canon, Sony, Blackmagic, Nikon, and all your industry favorites. Whether it's a wedding, a commercial shoot, a travel vlog, or just a simple shoot, we have the right equipment for you. High-quality lenses, professional accessories, unbeatable prices, and flexible rental terms all in one place. Visit us today or any other day at Top High near KNUST. You can also call us on the following numbers to make your booking: 0532 670 582 or 0596 844 781. You can find us at Christocentric Rentals on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Christocentric Rentals, professional production assured.
You could have done more.
Yeah.
Had more time.
Yeah.
Still on that from the top, the guest who left, the previous episode, he said we should ask you what goes into your post-production, wedding post-production. He wants to know, because he was like, well, when I go to Kobby's page and I see his work, I'm like, this is different. Okay. That's the statement. He said, like, he see that there's some uniqueness in how you present or edit your work. So he wants to know what goes into your wedding post-production.
Okay. I'll start by saying that every creative should, at a point, realize that they need to carve a style for themselves. Okay. All right. Something that people can identify you with or your work with without even a logo imprinted on it. So it took some time for me to find exactly what I loved. Because you realize that if I have two pictures and let's say you are the other photographer editing the same photograph, maybe shot by myself, we will definitely come out with two different results. In terms of probably you might touch the cropping, you might reshape or reframe, you might touch certain colors into the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights, when it comes to color grading, color balance. You might be using a lot of different things that you find interesting to you. So I started out by mimicking a couple of photographers that I was day by day watching. I'll put their pictures side by side and I'll try my best to get the look they had. So if I get a chance to obtain a raw file, I'll look at it, look at how they edited. If I'm lucky to also have a step-by-step, let's say a workflow process, I'll look at it step-by-step and try and mimic it. And in that process, there's going to be a lot of errors I'm going to commit. I'll revert, do it again, revert, do it again. And in that process, I carved a style for myself. Now, I realized that I was more in tune with certain effects, like, let's say, color balance. I'll find myself pushing, let's say, for instance, blues into the shadows, oranges, into the skin tones and increasing the vibrance, selectively working on the greens. I found out that I was loving certain looks. Then I'll put on my phone, look at it and see if it turned out good enough, because screens also have different displays. Yeah, depending on what preset you're using on it or luminosity or whatsoever. So I'll look at different screen displays with the same image and find out what exactly is wrong with what, and I'll reduce it so that they all look good as much across all those different screens. Then gradually, I realized that people were loving certain types of looks. Then other photographers were also pointing fingers at them that this looks unique. They love the picture because of this and that. Then I harnessed it. I took advantage of it and made it even better. So that was the process, how I carved a style for myself. Then over time, of course, you want to learn to use other softwares. Okay. Initially, I was using just Photoshop. Then in fact, nobody could convince me to use Lightroom at all. There used to be a time. But when I got introduced to Lightroom, I took my time off to watch tutorials, because for the most part, that's what I do. I watch tutorials. I don't necessarily go to sit behind someone to ask them exactly what questions I need to ask them to help me. To get them to help me to achieve a particular look. But I'll go through it myself and make those mistakes. And that's the process. I think it's the most boring process that every creative try to evade. They try to evade that boring process. Most creatives have come across, because they want to know exactly why you did it this way. And you realize that it's difficult to even explain why you did this or that, because it has become second nature to you. You find yourself pushing certain colors, but another photographer wouldn't touch those colors, but it will still come out beautifully.
Beautiful.
But you realize that your style is consistent across board. And I realized that the tiles arrangement on my Instagram, I realized that the colors were very consistent, even though some pictures were indoors, others were outdoors, but
locations,
they had certain characteristics that were, unique and applicable, as well as very consistent across all the pictures that I created. And I realized that, this was the style that I had cut for myself, and it looked good. Yeah.
So, still on this. So, can we say that presets, does it limit a creative's ability to create his or her own style?
You mean presets that are provided by other creatives?
Yeah. So, for example, you were saying that you pick, let's say, someone's image you admire. So instead of going to get the preset they use to get the look, you not go for the preset. You make sure that you do your adjustment to get the similar look.
Yeah. That was not until I realized that certain presets didn't work with mine, and I didn't understand. You purchase these. I have purchased presets before. A whole lot. Just like people would love me to sell my presets to them, but I actually give them out for free, because after all, the pictures I take, I light it in a different way than you would light it. And so if you apply the preset, you are going to definitely have to tweak to get a preferred look. It can be the same preset, but we will have different results. So I used to buy these presets too. And anytime I applied them, I was like, no. The before and after they showed, it's like I'm supposed to have my pictures look like this or close to this. But why is it not working out? Then, through research, I realized that different situations will cause the preset to look differently on different pictures. Then, I learned how to tweak them well. So I would reduce the effect and how severe it may look on my pictures, because you realize that across my work, I love a lot of contrast.
Yeah.
So if you apply a preset, it's going to intensify the contrast. Now you have to dial it down. So in that process, I was always making sure that it was halfway or even a little bit below halfway. Then I built on it. So over time, I realized that every preset that I used, I could still create another preset. And with the use of Lightroom, I could save the presets and I apply it on all other pictures that I take. I realized that I may tweak it or I probably might not. That was when I realized that that was actually my shooting style. And those presets that I saved after tweaking them from the original preset could apply to all of them with little to no problem. I hope you are following what I'm trying to say. So presets wouldn't always work every time. And you should come to that realization if you are looking forward to understanding why you should take it from the ground up. Because you can't just say that because this renowned photographer applied this preset and he's selling it, my pictures are going to equally look the same. Most often than not, it's not going to turn out that way.
Yeah.
So you're going to learn how to tweak it. And as you tweak and you get better at the tweaking, you realize that you create presets out of that original preset.
Then it becomes your style.
Your style. And also, you'll be also creating your own presets out of starting from the ground up and developing something unique as well for yourself. Yeah. So initially, yes, I was buying presets. I learned how to tweak them. Then I decided to create my own style and I saved them and it worked out. Yeah.
Okay. So the presets, you don't just apply, find a way to tweak it.
Yes.
To suit what you want. Amazing.
Because it's someone's work and their shooting style will be different and they will create those presets out of their tweaks.
Yeah.
So then you, for instance, you buy a preset from an American who's a white man who majorly shoots white people. And here where we come from, we're Ghanaians. Most of the pictures we shoot are of black people.
Yeah.
Our skin tones will be looked at differently by the softwares when you apply the presets than compared to the white person. So it wouldn't always work. But you have to look at certain situations that you can still use that preset to develop something. That's where the tweaking comes in. Yes. And after saving it, I think it can apply across because your style, your shooting style will be very consistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a photographer, a videographer, filmmaker, or content creator? Are you looking for the perfect shot without breaking the bank? Look no further. Christocentric Rentals has got you covered. At Christocentric Rentals, we provide top-notch cameras and gears from the world's leading brands. We have Canon, Sony, Blackmagic, Nikon, and all your industry favorites. Whether it's a wedding, a commercial shoot, a travel vlog, or just a simple shoot, we have the right equipment for you. High-quality lenses, professional accessories, unbeatable prices, and flexible rental terms all in one place. Visit us today or any other day at Top High near KNUST. You can also call us on the following numbers to make your booking: 0532 670 582 or 0596 844 781. You can find us at Christocentric Rentals on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Christocentric Rentals, professional production assured.
Who is Kobbyshot?
Kobbyshot is me. I am Kobbyshots. I mean, Kobbyshot is a passion-driven individual who actually loves the craft of photography and filmmaking, anything cameras. In fact, I've fallen in love with cameras since I started school in KNUST, where I was introduced to photography in second year. I would say I was fortunate. I mean, first year to third year, and filmmaking followed after in third year. So when I got introduced to photography, I realized that since from childhood, I've always been the type of person who loves art.
That's from childhood.
From childhood. So I've done visual arts since JHS upwards, And it's because I love creating stuff. I remember my dad told me one day that I was describing a particular person who had come home. I think I was like 7 years old. And when I was describing the person, I said the person with the square head and whatever. I think I added a couple of things, and it was so amusing.
Yeah.
But when my dad told me that, I wasn't surprised enough because, in fact, till today, when I'm describing someone, I use shapes, the basic shapes that you learn during graphic design, all that. Because after all, forms are synonymous to shapes. So if you're describing somebody, you definitely use certain shapes to describe them. So from the get-go, I've always loved, drawing, coloring. I've understood colors in a different way. I'm so enthused about things that comes together to create a beautiful piece. So Kobbyshots came out of somebody who's very passionate about colors, shapes, everything art. In fact, music sometimes. That's why I'm a music video director.
Yeah.
Because it should make your work conform to the sound that you're listening to, so that someone can look at the video and it will be imprinted in their heads, very indelible, that if they hear the song, they should still remember the work that you did. So I'm a very passion-driven person that I would say sometimes it becomes quite detrimental to my health, because if I want to create something, I'll go in all out to actually get it. That's how passionate I am. And sometimes it's very dicey, but I mean, I have it under control for the most part. Yeah.
I see. So, you started professionally.
Yeah.
When did you start?
Okay, so I started with photography, and that was professionally, that was in 2017.
2017.
I was doing petty jobs.
Okay.
Because I had understood photography, and thanks to members of my church in school, PAX, I belonged to the drama ministry. And I remember when I had my camera first, in fact, every photographer beginning, or anyone who remembers how they began, will definitely attest to it, that when you get your first camera, you in fact shoot everything and anything.
What was your first camera?
It was bought for me by my dad. It was a Nikon D5100. Yes.
I see.
A very old camera, which I lost I got it damaged. I lost it to water. I drenched it. Yeah. But I was looking forward to the 6D, which was my second purchase. But you see, the cameras that I used shaped how I wanted to actually create my photography, because it began from that small camera. I started photography professionally in 2016.
Okay.
2016 into 2017. That was when I graduated undergrad, University, and I had my 6D then. During graduation, I think I used it so well then. But the first camera I ever had was bought for me by my dad. It was a Nikon D5100.
Okay.
And I remember that my dad had a little bit of discomfort when I told him that I had outgrown the camera. Because I had studied so many tutorials to understand that I needed another lens so that I could create this picture out of what I've watched on YouTube. Because I was wondering, why is it that my pictures don't look as sharp? Then it's probably because of the lens. And I needed to upgrade the lens. So I remember, because my dad bought that camera for me, and the profession hadn't started yet, so I wasn't necessarily making any income from it. It was just sheer passion. I told him that I wanted a 50mm. Nikon had this 50mm, which was quite expensive. In fact, Nikon equipment, comparatively to Canon equipment, are kind of like always expensive than Canon. So I remember I think it was around 800 cedis. Yeah, then. Then
time.
Yes, those days. And I told my dad was quite uncomfortable. He even retorted that I'm not grateful for what he did. No. He had to understand. I had to explain myself for him to understand that I had outgrown the gear. And it wasn't that I wasn't happy with what I had, but I just wanted another lens to verify that what I've learned is true. Because I had noticed that the kit lens that it came with couldn't blur the background, obviously. It was an 18 to 55 mm, 3.5 to 5.6. So it's not a constant aperture. And so anytime I shot the pictures, I couldn't stay at a very wide open aperture to blur the background when I zoom it all the way to 55 mm. So it wasn't really helping out. Yeah. So I wanted the 50 mm because I had learned it on YouTube that I needed that lens. So when I got it for myself, because my dad didn't get it for me, I had to get it for myself by all means. I remember that it took me like 3 months to accumulate that much.
How much was it?
It was like 700 CDs or 800. That was then when I was in school, 2016 years.
Yeah.
Because I had loved photography out of a set of videos that a TA gave us. Because I mean, just like everybody would, when you are satisfying academic requirements, because photography was one of the courses that I was learning. Started with basic photography, then I moved on to photo concept. So with photo concept, we were supposed to, every week we had a concept. So that it could be food photography. Then we will prescribe to everybody what exactly they should take pictures of.
Okay.
So I remember one time I used my phone to just take a picture and I submitted it and I got the marks. I mean, I could explain the aperture because it gives you those details, the metadata and everything. So you can tell what aperture you use. And I use that to explain myself during presentations. But I needed a camera to be able to, build on it. But then I didn't have that passion. So when I got hold of those videos that a TA gave us at the last semester, that was the second semester, the long vac, I brought home with me those videos. I took time to watch it. I watched it for like 2 months. Then I realized that, so these were the things that our lecturers and our TAs were trying to draw our minds to. But it was more of like, because you're in class, you'll be distracted and all that. It's like, you're just satisfying academic requirements. And so you didn't really pay so much attention to it. But these videos made me understand it so much. And it was basic photography then. You also understand lenses as well. So there were 2 folders with all these courses.
Okay.
And I watched them. I came back to school 3rd year and I was a new person. People were even surprised. My course mates were like, really? How did you get to know all these? And it's like, I watched the same videos that you guys didn't want to go get. Because I remember the TO was keen on it. Come and come copy the pictures, the videos and all that, and try your hands on all of them and watch the videos to understand this. Because it might help you understand and your comprehension on these things. But I mean, most of my course mates didn't really pay attention. Some downloaded it. Others probably didn't watch it. So when I came, I was kind of like a different person. I understood better and I could present it to them. So fast forward, when I got myself the 6D, that was when I was ready. And thanks to my church, most of them getting married will call on me because I remember during programs, they will call me to come take pictures. Let's say there's a dance choreography or there's administration in church. I'll be the one they will expect to take pictures and
for free.
For free, of course. And I loved it then because it was just passion. So I'll submit these pictures and through that, unknowingly, I was accumulating my client base. And it was them. It started from there. So one person will get married, call on me, I'll go take the pictures. And I realized that, there's actually money in this craft. It's not just the sheer passion, in fact. So that's how I started professionally. Then I started creating content because I was introduced to Instagram in 2015. And I had tried my hands on color grading a little bit, trying to make sure that the pictures looked like certain photographers that I was looking up to. And when I was posting them, I was getting the responses, the interactions from my followers, and I was growing the followership little by little. Then through that set of followership, I could also get my client base also from there. So that's how it started out. And I realized that this was something that I think I could actually look into full time. Yeah.
Then this was, so those were the moments that you realized that this is more than a hobby.
Yeah.
It's more than that.
It's more than just that. Yeah, that's how I realized it. Because it was beautiful. I loved doing it. So it felt like I wasn't even working at all. Because I'll take the pictures, I'll come, look at them, and compare it to what I have learned over YouTube. I could download video. I remember I still even have videos that I downloaded 8 years ago on my hard drives. I can look up to them and at them and smile and remember those days that I was trying to get myself better. So yeah, it's been that kind of like journey. Yeah.
So passion,
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
How do we draw the line?
Okay. You might blur it because you have to have the passion for something to realize if it's your purpose. That's how I understand it. Because passion comes first in the sense that you have to have that fuel that pushes you to want to actually venture into what you're doing. So for instance, I'll use myself as an example. As a photographer, I had to have the passion to want to shoot almost anything and everything. To understand that if I'm taking pictures of a moving subject, this how I have to do it, this how I have to do that. And if I make mistakes, something has to drive me to want to find out why this didn't work out so that I could rectify it and get it right. So through that, in fact, you would even want to do it without thinking about being compensated. Sometimes I'll take pictures for people for free, just edit them, just to get their feedback to see if they liked it.
Or not?
So through that, I realized that this was actually something I needed to do. That's why I realized that this was my purpose. I found out that this is what I think I'm supposed to be into. And the rest has been history.
Are you a photographer, a videographer, filmmaker, or content creator? Are you looking for the perfect shot without breaking the bank? Look no further. Christocentric Rentals has got you covered. At Christocentric Rentals, we provide top-notch cameras and gears from the world's leading brands. We have Canon, Sony, Blackmagic, Nikon, and all your industry favorites. Whether it's a wedding, a commercial shoot, a travel vlog, or just a simple shoot, we have the right equipment for you. High-quality lenses, professional accessories, unbeatable prices, and flexible rental terms all in one place. Visit us today or any other day at Top High near KNUST. You can also call us on the following numbers to make your booking: 0532 670 582 or 0596 844 781. You can find us at Christocentric Rentals on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Christocentric Rentals, professional production assured.
The rest has been history, and now we are having some of the histories here as well. Yeah. So now we're knowing about passionate. So was there a point in your life where you felt like you've lost sight of your purpose in this creative journey?
Yes, at a point. I remember that there used to be a time there's a very low light in the sense that I took pictures of a friend's wedding, all right? It came out that I lost the files to ransomware. I kept all my files together on one hard drive and I had it connected. So it was more of like I was trying to download. I remember I was downloading a software. And in that process, I had to compromise my firewall because it wasn't allowing me. And then, I felt that this site was trusted, so I could download it. I downloaded it and I realized that the tabs were opening multiples and multiples over the laptop. But I felt that maybe it was a glitch. So I closed them and it came back. Then I went into my folders to check something, to see if the downloads was done, because I remember it indicated that it was complete. I went to check the downloads and I realized that all the files looked white. The folders, they all looked the same. And they had this different extension I'd never seen. And I was like, no, what is wrong with this? So initially I thought probably my RAM was full, because normally when I'm using these softwares, the Premiere Pro together with After Effects, when the RAM is full, it doesn't display the files and the folders for you to see them for what they are. So I restarted the PC. It came back and it was still the same. Now I realized that every drive, every SD card that I put in there were affected.
Virus.
So I tried to delete it and recover. It recovered the same faulty files. And now you are presented with a message that your files are safe. You have to pay this amount. I remember it was like $300 or something. Yeah. And they will recover your files for you or something like that. I thought it was just a minor issue. I went over to the forensics lab because then I was doing my service in University. I had my service done at the College of Science.
Okay.
So they had this forensics lab department, and I went over there, and they were also new to that particular ransomware,
okay.
and they couldn't help out. So I had lost all those files, and I remember I was really devastated because imagine a set of weddings were all messed up. Thankfully, I could recover some, but for the most part, I felt like I had lost and I had disappointed my client. And I lost a lot of money because I had to go back and reshoot certain things, those that I could reshoot. So I was thinking about it that, is this something that I really want to do? It dawned on me that this is too risky. How about I try something else? Maybe, because it has happened once where I had an assistant recording a video for me, and it came back that exactly when the exchange of vowels were happening, that was when the microphone wasn't inserted well. And I didn't get the audio. And this was a client that was more like a friend. I could actually go to Accra, visit, pass the night over at his place and all that. And this is what had happened. So many times I thought that maybe this wasn't what I wanted to do. Or probably this wasn't necessarily meant for me. But I had to pick myself back up, tap myself on the back, tell myself that it's one of those things. I just don't have to have it repeat itself again. And I'll move forward. So I've felt that before, that thought I was losing track of my purpose, or probably I was in the wrong discipline. Yeah.
I see. Passion drives the purpose.
Yes, it does.
Kobby, we know you as someone who shoots weddings. Per my conversation with other creatives, I was told that, those days, Kobbyshots was a standard for weddings.
Really?
I had one guy was like, Kobby, a wedding, a hammy.
Interesting.
That's what he said. Because it's like you were someone he was looking up to in the wedding space. And I believe that that transition, how was it? Was it tough for you? Because then time people were booking you for weddings.
Yeah, I remember.
Going after you.
A whole lot.
And now you know that I think the wedding space is not where I'm supposed to be. Let me move to where I have to be. How was it? That transition?
It was a tough decision. A decision that had its uncertainties. I remember my mom sat me down and asked me, are you sure you want to actually move away from this? Because I remember I could have a lot of content to post. And there was one time, I think when I started doing weddings where I was consistently being booked, there was a point I remember a client even hit me up that she was trying to transfer money to me, but it wasn't happening. There was an error. It always kept prompting her that there's an issue. Then I realized that I had hit the limit of what my wallet could allow. So I was actually making money, a whole lot. But the perks that came with it were a lot. And that was what made me sit down to think that it's too risky and it's becoming still all the same. So all these things put together made me make that decision that I wanted to transition. So then I wasn't really so much into filmmaking as I am today. Okay. But I think it was from that transition that put me in the space where I shoot more videos or I do more filmmaking than I used to do in the past. So it was a tough decision, I wouldn't lie, because of course the money was good. Getting booked almost every weekend. Yeah. Almost every weekend. I remember a particular month, it happened I think thrice. All across I was booked, and even on one particular Saturday, I had 2 weddings. So I had to outsource to friends, yes, to do it. But I would always have to edit it myself. So yeah, it was a tough decision, but I had to make it because it has to be something that you love doing. Because when it becomes a chore, you wouldn't enjoy it, to drain you. Because money is good. Of course, we need clients to save our lives, to save our passion, what we're working on. But when it becomes the fundamental part of your growth, you realize that you wouldn't be growing. Because I'll always look up at working on something that will give me more satisfaction and will push me against the wall to push beyond my limits. And I felt that weddings were keeping me in a fix, in a corner. And I wanted to break that barrier and move forward. So I had to make that tough decision.
Very tough.
Yeah.
Great. It was a tough decision. And by experience,
Yeah.
do you believe that passion alone is enough to sustain a creative career?
Passion alone is not enough. You need to be business minded as well. Because there used to be a time I will be taking pictures of wedding clients and realize that, that was a time where most wedding photographers were uploading pre-wedding pictures and all. So because I wanted a lot of clients, I would add it into my package list that the pre-weddings were free. And it also helped out with getting me booked for the most part in my initial stages when I was more of like a wedding photographer. But because I wasn't business minded, I can say that I was losing out on a lot of money. Because pre-weddings is a big avenue to make more than you would if you would just shoot the wedding itself. Because a pre-wedding itself can be an occasion on its own, depending on how the client plans it.
Yeah.
You see, but because it was free before, I had made it in such a way that it was easy on my hands to still do it. But because I wasn't applying or incorporating the business aspect of it, I was losing on money. So the passion itself was driving me. However, it wasn't enough because I needed to also be business driven so that I could get money to push forward my passion and what I was trying to actually achieve. Because you can be passionate about something, you just do it and you wouldn't get anything from it.
Yeah.
But how then are you going to survive? Because we are living in a world that everything is expensive, even from the most minute things. You need money to sustain yourself. And so being business driven and business minded as well, attached to the passion, I think will really push you forward, because your passion will make you become better so that you can charge more and it can save your brand. Yeah.
Okay. So passion is not enough. Alone.
Yeah. Alone
is not enough.
Unless you are not looking at that venture as a commodity.
Okay.
If it's a hobby, then fine. Passion is enough. Because your passion will make you want to wake up and go do it.
Back.
Yeah. But if it's something that you are treating as a career, then just passion wouldn't be enough. You need to make sure that you are making something out of it. Yes. And looking at what you've been able to outgrow and your level by virtue of the passion that pushed you, you'll be able to look at how your pricing will also grow and change over time.
Okay. So, you see, right now, this one we still need a more practical way.
Okay.
I am a creative. How do I discover that this is my purpose in the industry? Is it that it just comes, that's my purpose, or it comes as you are on the creative journey? Then you know that, okay, this is my purpose. Let me just focus here.
There are two ways I would explain it as, and I'll also use myself as an example.
Okay.
You see, you need to have the passion, first of all, to do something, to know that you love it. Because you can be passionate about something today, tomorrow, you might not like it as much.
Exactly.
It might switch. It can always switch. So as you keep on doing it, I mean, it's more of like a self-reflective process that you have to put yourself through. You have to undergo that self-reflection that this particular venture, maybe I have 3 options in front of me. What do I think if I am even tired, I'll still want to keep on doing? What do I so much love about this particular venture that will keep me going even when I make mistakes? Even when I'm not paid what I'm due, I'll still be able to want to create something good for whoever has given me that task, or probably just myself, to get myself better. So that actually is the passage or the pathway to go. You need to know that you like this. You want to actually do this for real. Because if it doesn't get that way and you are just following people because maybe they are making money or something like that, you hit a point where you might not be willing to grow, because probably this is not what you are actually meant to do. But because probably it was just because you wanted to make ends meet and, live your life. So you realize that many photographers I've seen today, they blindly purchase equipment. They blindly purchase softwares because they just want their work to look decent enough. And complacency also sets in for the most part, because they don't want to grow anymore. It's just like our fathers, I would say our predecessors, some of them still do photography, but you realize that they are still in that same fix in 1970 or 1980, old style. They go around most photographers will know or will agree to this, that they've seen it, that during graduations, they have these photographers who are older people. Yeah. Comparatively to we, the youth. You see them going around with images, showing it across people to, get them to take pictures of them to make something. You realize that the pictures that they've taken, it doesn't necessarily have any artistic style to it as compared to what we do today. And I wouldn't say that's not their purpose, but I'd rather say if you are in this jurisdiction, in our era, and you are taking pictures the way that you used to do 4 years ago, or you've purchased the camera, let's say I'm using a 6D, why would I want to go purchase a Canon EOS R6 or EOS R7 or a 5DSR or any other high-end camera? What will push me to go buy it? Is it because I've seen my friend using it, or is it because I want to be better? So being better, your gear acquisition and your arsenal growing should also reflect in your end product. Your works should also reflect, and it should ooze off the kind of equipment that you have in your arsenal. Because I've seen a lot of photographers flaunting cameras.
Big ones.
All the lenses in the world. But you ask them, why are you using this lens? I know that some clients would love to see their photographer having all the big gears and all that. But I can use just a 50mm sitting on an EOS 600D. And I can create something artistically better or aesthetically better than someone using a 5DSR with a 70 to 200 or even a 600mm. You get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So it should be something that you should love to make you want to develop yourself. And through that process, you're going to be affected by your purchasing decisions, your growth process. If the pace is going to be fast, it is all dependent on if you really love what you're doing.
Okay.
So that is where it actually starts. You need to love it to want to do it. Yeah.
You want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, based on what you just said, right now I've been able to discover my purpose.
Okay.
And then I've come to you that in the next 5 years, this is where I want to be.
Okay.
On these two, on these two things, my gadgets and the skill set, in the next 5 years, if I'm building it, can you say, okay, use this number of years to build on your skill set, this number of years to build on your gadgets? How will you help me with that?
Okay. Even though I can advise you, I'll still throw it to you because we are all different in our pace in knowledge acquisition and comprehension. Because I can use a week to understand the software, and it might take you months to a year to understand that very software. So we are all different in how we understand and our backgrounds. Luckily for me,
Okay.
because I have the visual arts background, it has all been art, composition, drawing, colors, and all that. And those same things apply here, because if I'm taking a picture of a person in front of a tree, and that tree has a funny shape that doesn't complement the costume or what my model may be wearing, it might not come out really good. So if I'm able to understand that I need to position my model this way, in that same space with the same few elements, my picture can come out as really good. But it might take someone years to come to that realization. So I wouldn't say, if someone would come up to me that these are my equipment, this is how much I know in photography or filmmaking, do you think that 5 years will be enough? I would say it could be. It might be less, depending on how much passion you have. Okay. And if you've discovered, I think you said that's your purpose, right? Yes. You've realized that that's your purpose because you love to do it. Cool. Then all that you need to do is to make sure that each day you do something. It will inform your pace. It will inform your speed. And before you realize what you thought you could develop in 5 years, you might need even
2 years.
A year or two, sometimes even months. Depends on your pace and how you absorb or deduce information. Yeah, because with my style and how I developed, I would download a ton of videos on YouTube. It took me just 2 months to understand the basics in photography, as I explained earlier, by virtue of the videos I was given by the TA. Yeah. So when I came back, what we learned in 2 years, I could understand in just months better, because I realized that I was loving the examples. In school, many a time, or most often than not, you wouldn't be given the chance. Even then, I didn't have a camera. So if I would even have the chance to hold someone's camera, it will be for just that fraction of a second or that time. When I go home, probably all that I've learned, I've forgotten. But because I had a chance to have a camera of my own after learning and watching those videos, I was able to grasp it better. So if someone walks up to me, I mostly tell them that you need to have that equipment that you watch the video of to create that. Because if you don't have it, you should know how to maximize what you have. Because being able to maximize the little you have, if you are given the most advanced equipment, you find it so easy to use because you just apply. And you realize that what you were spending minutes, you can do that in seconds with a new set of gear, because you understand the tools and you know how to even push yourself if the tools are not adequate enough. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's different. It's different across board. Everyone is different. Yeah, and how they understand certain things. But if you keep at it, the more practice you perform, you get better. You understand things, and you have to make mistakes. If you are afraid to make mistakes, then this is not a venture for you, because creatives, I always tell photographers when I have or I organize photography workshops, what I tell them is, no photograph is a mistake unless you, the one who took it, deems it so. Because someone can show me a picture and it's overexposed. I remember a time a friend of mine was taking pictures and he was like, I like blown out photographs of this particular model because what she's wearing, the background is too clumsy. There's a lot of distractions. And his lens was, I think, the 50mm and it was shooting on a 60D. And so he couldn't really blur so much because 60D is a crop sensor camera.
Yeah.
And you know that if you compare a crop sensor camera to a full frame, the full frame, because the sensor is large, it also affects the blurriness that you get. The shallow depth of field is more shallow than when you have the crop sensor, even with the same type of lens, with the same settings. So he was trying to eradicate as much distractions in the background as he could. And so he decided to blow out the background. And I realized that it really did so well for the images and its results. It turned out good because now you could appreciate the person who was in it than before when he exposed it correctly enough to still expose what was in the background. So he didn't see it as a mistake because he preferred it to be so. But maybe until he would explain it to me, I wouldn't like it because probably my personal style wouldn't want to have such a photograph in my portfolio. But because he did it and he wanted it to result in that way, it was okay because he's a creator. Unless he didn't want it, then it becomes a mistake. So I keep on telling my people that if you are learning photography, everything you deem as a mistake, just try and find out why you see it as a mistake and rectify it. If you're able to rectify it and you prefer this over that and you can explain why you prefer this over that for someone to understand or a photographer to understand what you mean, then you are getting better. Yeah.
Are you a photographer, a videographer, filmmaker, or a content creator? Are you looking for the perfect shot without breaking the bank? Look no further. Christocentric Rentals has got you covered. At Christocentric Rentals, we provide top-notch cameras and gears from the world's leading brands. We have Canon, Sony, Blackmagic, Nikon, and all your industry favorites. Whether it's a wedding, a commercial shoot, a travel vlog, or just a simple shoot, we have the right equipment for you. High-quality lenses, professional accessories, unbeatable prices, and flexible rental terms all in one place. Visit us today or any other day at Top High near KNUST. You can also call us on the following numbers to make your booking: 0532 670 582 or 0596 844 781. You can find us at Christocentric Rentals on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Christocentric Rentals, professional production assured.
Kobby,
Yeah.
we want to know on this your creative journey.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'm sure you've met people,
Yeah.
one or the other. Some people have mentored you and all that. But we want to know some 3 people that when Kobby is telling his creative story, these 3 names cannot be left out.
Yeah. There are names. A lot of them actually.
The 3
But there are
that
3.
it can never be left out.
Okay. I made sure that I had physical contact with all of them. Yeah, these 3 I'm going to name. The first person being Kobbyshots.
Okay.
Kobbyshots. Okay, let me mention all of them. Then I'll speak about Kobbyshots because Kobbyshots shaped how I understood photography in a particular way. It was remotely before, but when I got a chance to meet him, he taught me a couple of things more and redirected me to someone else who is Specs Photo. He doesn't do photography anymore, as far as I'm concerned. And there's a third person, Joey Dutch.
Joey Dutch. Okay.
Yes, Joey Dutch is a good friend. We've done workshops even together before, and we've worked on collaborations, YouTube videos as well, a whole lot. And speaking about Kobbyshots, I remember because I was privileged to have photography as a course in school, I felt that I was much more on the opportune side because I was getting the tuition from school.
Okay.
But he was doing something very different from communication design. Even though still under the same jurisdiction, the same faculty of art, he was reading painting and sculpture. But when I was introduced to Instagram and I looked up at the pictures, his pictures, they had this look. It's like the pictures were unreal. It looked different because, photographs is what you point at. I'm just taking a picture of my friend over there. Then I didn't understand that you could use something called a flash to position this and that. Because when I was learning basic photography, I was using the sun majorly. So what the sun will give you is what you have to harness and modify, even if you have a reflector or diffuser, all these things. But his pictures were so different. So it pushed me to give him a call and I asked him if I could meet him. And today, the very same thing I did, people come up to me to do the same. I went up to him and I told him that this is my camera. Do you think it's good? This is a very basic question. Everybody
Definitely
starting out would ask someone they deem, to be a mentor or a prospective mentor. I showed it to him. He was like, yeah, it's a good camera. You just have to do this and that. And then I told him to take a picture of me because I wanted to compare a shot he would take to what I have taken so far with the same gear.
Okay.
So I gave it to him. I remember he took a shot of me and I liked it because he was able to blur the background better than I would. Then I understood that through his explanation that if I want to blur my background, I have to stand afar and zoom in all the way because then I had a kit lens. That was what I understood from him. And I asked him about why his pictures looked so good. And he spoke about retouching. And I told him that I asked him if I could get a chance to meet him because then I think I was in third year and he was in his final year. So they were working on their final year project.
came to tech.
Yeah. He was my senior.
Amazing.
He was in University. Yeah.
Wow.
He read painting and sculpture. So imagine someone who doesn't have anything to do with photography as a course could do something so good. How much more me?
Now you are really doing it as a course.
So I remember I would bombard him with a lot of questions. Then he redirected me to my course mate because, naturally, I wouldn't see my course mate to be someone better than him because I'm in the same class with him. We are being taught the same things. But when he redirected me to him, Specs Photo, he was so generous. He had time for me. And I remember one time he commended me after I was able to assemble a softbox. Then we use these soft boxes that you disassemble totally. It's not the one that you can just collapse and put it in. It was the ones with the rods. You had to have manpower, energy, and strength to be able to pull and push them in here. So I remember he came one time. He would always call me to come through for his photo shoots and I would assist him. That was when I learned how to position lights, hold lights up and all that with the softbox and all.
Yeah.
And he had a flash. Then I didn't have all those. So when I was learning, I'll go to him anytime that he had a shoot and even times that he didn't, I'll go there, take the gear. With his help, we just take a picture, get a friend, we'll take the pictures and all. And he'll teach me how to, understand basics in retouching, a little bit of color grading and all that. So Specs Photo taught me how to work on skin retouching. Yes, from the start. Then comes to
the last person.
Joey Dutch. Yes. That was during my service. I remember he hit me up. I even got to know him through Brian. That's B Gray Pixels.
Okay, B
yes.
Gray.
But I wasn't as close to B Gray as I was to Joey. So Joey actually came all the way from Accra to Kumasi because according to him, he had hit me up a couple of times, severally, but I hadn't responded. I hadn't seen it, honestly. So through Brian, he spoke of Joey and I had a phone call with him. Then he told me that he will make time to come through to Kumasi. So during my service, during 2018, he came through. And that was when I realized that I was overthinking my photography. Because I felt that I always needed to mount a softbox. Natural light wasn't good enough. But Joey Dutch showed me that we could even use just the window as a makeshift softbox. You just need a curtain. Hang it there. Joey was the type of person who maximized the little he had. He had this 6D with a crappy 50mm. It wasn't even focusing very well. I think over time, then he bought a new one. But he could just easily harness the sun, position the model here, grab the image so easily. And I would ask him, what exactly did you do? Then he would tell me this and that, and then I'll give it a try. Then we started out, I went over to visit him in Legon. He schooled in Legon, University of Ghana. And I remember when I went over to visit him, he showed me how to take pictures of models without makeup. Because every time I'll have to get a makeup artist on set.
Yes.
But Joey was the type who would shoot pictures and wouldn't care about makeup and the pictures would still turn out good. And he held me out to understand all that. So these are the three people that I would say were so instrumental. But there's one person I would like to add on, which is Gog Lawrence.
Okay.
I was in class with him as well.
Hey, that's a senior man.
Gog.
Kobby, you are loaded.
That's Lawrence. Lawrence, I remember one time he was perplexed when I went over to Accra to see him over just 2 hours and returned. I went to Accra just to see him and I returned after 2 hours because I wanted him to show me something.
Okay.
And that was when I learned what color balance was used for in Photoshop.
Wow.
So if I wasn't passion driven, do you think I would risk my life, travel from Kumasi to Accra for just 2 hours? He was surprised. He was like, "Are you sure this is the only reason you came here for? Aren't you going to visit anybody?" I was just returning. So, I mean, I met him over at a particular restaurant, and he showed me a couple of things. I was hoping that he would do a photography session or something like that we could use those pictures, but he just made me use my own pictures, and he tweaked it, and they turned out good. I was like, oh, so it's not his style necessarily, but he can actually apply it on any other picture and it'll still turn out good, even though it wasn't shot by himself. So all these made me realize that I was overthinking my photography. Like, I need to set up all these equipment. I need this camera. I need that, and I need that. So then I reduced my purchasing, sequence. I wasn't buying new gear. I was just maximizing. I was able to save more, and I could use my same set of equipment, my gear, my 6D. I even used it for like over 5 years. I didn't change it. But you look at my pictures and you wouldn't be able to tell.
6D, yeah, definitely.
So that's how instrumental mentorship can be. It doesn't matter who it is. It just has to be someone you feel they are better than you and learn from them. Even when I organize these photography workshops, photographers who are coming to learn will definitely ask questions that will make me rack my brain to explain to them. And these are all avenues that help me. And even with my YouTube channel as well, you need to be informed to inform. So these are all the process. And these are the instrumental figures. But the three, Clay Kofi, Specs Photo, and Joey Dutch, they really changed my understanding and really transformed my journey.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes. So these mentors, earlier on you said that the transition from photography to cinematography or filmmaking was tough.
Yeah.
What role did they play in that transition state?
Okay. Anybody trying to learn filmmaking who do not necessarily have any understanding in photography in the basics, I always recommend it to them that they should learn photography. Photography applies the basic exposure triangle, which is aperture, shutter speed, ISO. The same thing can be found
in filmmaking.
Yes, in filmmaking as well, because the same cameras are used. And because they all use the same pattern, the only difference that comes in here is the motion. So because that applies in both ways, learning photography will make you understand making sure that something is perfectly still, so that once you are trying to learn or transition to filmmaking, you'll easily be able to do that. That's how I learned. I realized that when I started working in the filmmaking space, it wasn't difficult at all. Everyone will start with a tripod, a basic tripod, obviously.
Yeah.
Then you pan, you tilt. Those are the things that you can do. But giving it motion was a complex journey as well. But I started out with using the tripod, and all that I had to understand was the fourth thing, which was frame rate. To understand that if I'm using 60 frames per second, I could blur I could slow down my shots and all these things. But it was through photography that helped me transition into filmmaking smoothly. Because anybody doing filmmaking who didn't necessarily have that fundamental journey in photography, you realize that they find certain things new to them when they are learning it. Because I will always say filmmaking is a complex form of imagery or creating imagery, because here you are including motion as well. So anything that moves, anything that you are including, this time around the composition, your framing is not static. They are in motion. So understanding photography will help you best understand filmmaking and to be a smooth transition. And that's what helped me. So I always recommend that to anybody wanting to get into filmmaking, to learn photography as well. Or if possible, learn photography first.
If possible, you learn photography first. Amazing.
Are you a photographer, a videographer, filmmaker, or content creator? Are you looking for the perfect shot without breaking the bank? Look no further. Christocentric Rentals has got you covered. At Christocentric Rentals, we provide top-notch cameras and gears from the world's leading brands. We have Canon, Sony, Blackmagic, Nikon, and all your industry favorites. Whether it's a wedding, a commercial shoot, a travel vlog, or just a simple shoot, we have the right equipment for you. High-quality lenses, professional accessories, unbeatable prices, and flexible rental terms all in one place. Visit us today or any other day at Top High near KNUST. You can also call us on the following numbers to make your booking: 0532 670 582 or 0596 844 781. You can find us at Christocentric Rentals on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Christocentric Rentals, professional production assured.
So, Kobby, still on the transition.
Yeah.
So we are talking about purpose.
Yeah.
So how do I know that? Because sometimes there might be a creative block.
Yeah.
And if you don't take care, you might think that because you are in that season of that creative block, this is not my purpose.
Yes.
So, I mean, how would you know that this is just a creative block?
Mm-hmm.
That if I'm able to do something, I can bounce back at the place I am without thinking that, no, this is not my purpose. Let me go and search for something different.
Okay. So the creative block will come in when you are burned out.
Okay.
You might be exhausted. You might be, uninspired and all. I know for myself that anytime I feel exhausted, I have to sleep. I actually have to take a nap. You'll come back to realize that what you did when you were tired, you probably have to start all the way from the top or make certain adjustments to it. So the creative block is natural. At a point, you might realize that your work looks too stale, too consistent. Sometimes you just have to sit back, relax, watch videos, inspire yourself. There's Pinterest. There are a lot of creatives creating profiles over there, sharing their content.
Yeah.
Sometimes watch a film. Because when I watch a film, if you sit next to me to watch a film, we might not end a 2-hour film 2 hours.
Really?
You're going to spend like 4 to 5 hours watching because I'll go back and forth just to look at why the shot was this way or that way. And all these inspire me. But fatigue or tiredness is one of the most basic forms of, factors that actually leads to the creative block.
blocks.
Because if you're tired, you are not inspired at all. And everything that you may do, you might not be very conscious doing it because you just probably want to get it over with, maybe get it done. But sit back and relax. If you are tired, sleep. It's really fundamental. Rest, come back at it, and you realize that fresh ideas will come through. If you're not tired, then resort to what you love doing. You can go out, take a hike, speak to friends, ask them about probably what you're finding it difficult to move forward from. Just share it with creatives. Join a club. When there's a photography workshop, make sure you attend. Network with people. Fresh ideas are everywhere. Okay. Talk to friends. You can even engage yourself in any sporting activity. You realize that you're re-energized and you come back and you look at it and you see it in a different perspective because your adrenaline rush will inspire some bit of creative blocks that can be moved. Yes. So that's what I do for myself most of the time. Because nobody can say that they are creative and it will just run across all over the years that they will never experience a creative block. It will definitely one day happen. So yeah, that's my way of, trying to jump that hurdle.
Amazing. Fatigue.
Yeah.
Burnout. Tiredness. It's true though. Sometimes you force yourself. You realize that
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah. Because it's exhausting. When you're editing pictures, imagine you shoot a wedding. This is also one of the reasons why I was tired of shooting weddings. Because you come back home with a ton of pictures. And I'm the type who would retouch all the pictures I select. Take my time and smoothing the skin. And if you're unlucky and your bride has blemishes, a lot of blemishes that the makeup couldn't cover, let's say pimples, acne, you have to sit down and edit all these. Imagine going through tons and tons of pictures. And I'm that type who would take my time to do that. Other photographers jump over that because of they would say they are not paid enough to do this. But I'm the type who wants to perfect every picture because I don't know what the client might use it for and where the client would put it where someone would see and have me recommended. So these are some reasons why, or is one of the, I would say one of the major reasons why I moved away from weddings, because it will cause you to be exhausted, and late deliveries will also jump in. Sometimes I can delegate, I can outsource it to a friend to do it, but you realize that it comes back and the client will see and notice that the work wasn't done by you. Okay. So you have to come back and work on them again all over from the top. Yeah. So I mean, if you're not inspired, just rest. You need a rest, and something can outsource as well. But a creative block is eminent for everybody. Just know what to do when it gets to your turn.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So Kobby, we are getting to a close of the conversation. So we want to know, now that you shifted from photography, weddings, to the filmmaking or the cinematography.
I still do them though, both of them are the same. Just that
but you don't
majorly
do the
film.
You major in the film,
yeah,
and you do less of the photos.
Photography. Yeah.
Okay, so now what are some of the services and projects you work on that our audience, let's say if it is a YouTube page, can benefit from something?
Okay, so I have my personal channel, Kobbyshots.
Okay.
Where I have a ton of tutorials I've made over the years. I think I joined YouTube in 2018. So my first video was from 2018. So it's been a long time. It's almost 9 years now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And even up till date, I create content and everything new that I learned that I want to share. During COVID, I had a chance to explore product photography and filmmaking. So I have a ton of videos. In fact, everything that you're looking for, I have it over there accumulated on my channel, Kobbyshots. And when it comes to the filmmaking aspect, for real, I have a production house, Greenness Productions. That's where my films are. So the things that I learned that I teach, I apply them and create pieces for myself as well. That's where I put them. So anyone looking for any content or such, to learn from me or point of contact, my Instagram has it written all over. My YouTube all bears the name. Even on Twitter, now X, Kobbyshots, TikTok as well. I started sharing my content on TikTok and was doing well because I could find a ton of photography, because I felt that TikTok wasn't a platform where critics can actually people are really creating. A lot of creatives are jumping onto that. Yeah. And I was just reposting the same videos I had on my YouTube channel over there. Just that there are some restrictions where sometimes your sound will be taken off, will be muted because of their policies are very strict. Yes. So that's where my contents are, where I teach. YouTube, even Facebook, same Kobbyshots, the same name over there. That's where you can find me and my work.
Amazing. So Kobby, discipline and motivation, which one will you go for first?
I'll go for discipline.
Why?
I'll go for discipline because you have to have certain principles for yourself when you're working. Okay. Many a time, I come across, even with the actors I work with, when you're working with them, you realize that they kind of like take what I see to be so much of a big deal for granted. Because it looks like I am the one passionate about what I'm doing. I get it. But if you're part of it, you should share in my policies and my principles. You have to be very disciplined in what you're doing, because you have to look at it as I do. Because this is my life. This is what I love to do. So if you're going to be part of it and you're going to distract it, it's going to really, degrade, or it's going to downgrade or it regress my progress. And so I make it a point that wherever that I go to, the people that I work with, I make sure that they are up and running, well prepared, so that whatever it is that we're doing, I lead by example. All right. So whatever it is that we're doing, we make sure that it comes out the best way. And what better way can you get through to that? It's not just motivation. You need to be disciplined about the whole process as well. Yeah.
A camera body and a camera lens. Which one will you go for first?
Of course, you need a camera body first.
Why?
The lens is nothing without a camera body, and vice versa. But of course, you need the camera body. Then you decide what lens you'd use.
So you go for the camera body first. Yeah. Okay. So Kobby says that.
Unless you wanted to access a particular different way, or it's just vaguely like that.
It's general.
Okay.
You are a creative. You are given the option.
Okay.
To choose between a camera body and a camera.
Now I get where you are coming from.
So when you choose the body, you have any lens of your choice.
Yes.
If you choose the lens first, you have any body of your choice. Which one?
I'll still go for the body.
Okay.
I'll still go for the body because I can maximize whatever lens I'm using. I'll go for a body that can still have that lens attached to it. That will fit on it. Yeah. Okay. I'll go for a camera body because I would definitely have lenses. And I try my best to stay in one small, what is the word? There's a word that describes a space that you're working in. It's like a jurisdiction, an ecosystem. Yes. Okay. I would like to stay in one ecosystem. So if I have a 50mm and I have an 85mm and all that, I would definitely go for a camera body. And if it can't attach to it because I know that Canon has discontinued EF mounts. Now they are into the RF. I'll just basically get myself an adapter. I'll use those lenses. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, it's been a powerful conversation.
Yeah, it has.
We've learned a lot. This one, I wish we could have continued. I have other questions here. I believe God willing, we should have you again.
Sure. Definitely. I'll be happy to be here.
we should have you again, definitely. So, Kobby,
yeah,
you are the host. Okay, and there's another guest on this show. What one question will you ask the person?
The first question, or it's a single question, right?
One question.
What makes it difficult for the general public to respect creatives and our venture here in Ghana? That's the question I'll ask. Yeah.
Wow.
Because everybody respects being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a lecturer, and what have you. We have a ton of people in that space. Yeah. But when it comes to the creative space, we do have equally a good number of people. Yeah. But how much valuation does it have over the other, the other aspects?
Yes.
And how do Ghanaians or in that space, even generally, how much respect do we ascribe to it? So that's the question I'll ask the person.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you are watching this program. This is the Diary of a Creative, where we discuss issues beyond the lens in the creative space. And I'm your host, Ebenezer Amwako Entry. You are watching this episode and you have someone you wish to learn from. You want us to bring that person on the show. Just comment the person's name in the comment section and we will make sure that we get that person. And also, you are watching this. You're able to guess the next person for the next episode. Christocentric Rentals, they are saying that they will give you a package. And the answer must be provided within 24 hours after this video has been released. When you get it right, you go to them and you get your package. So our last words, we want to ask our guest. Now, Kobby has found his purpose.
Yeah.
If you are to go back to that young boy who will see an individual and be describing the person in a creative way, what advice will you give that young boy about purpose?
I'll tell my younger self that if I had started, I'll tell myself that this is the pathway you have to go. Just that there are going to be a lot of hurdles. You need to push forward, because in the part where you are, coming from Ghana, there are a lot of obstructions from your family, from your friends. People are going to ridicule you as you start. However, that's the pathway and the surest way to grow, because you have no idea what might be ahead of you. You need these few challenges to be able to push forward. Don't ever see any downfall as your final fall. You just have to pick yourself back up, dust the dust off yourself, and keep pushing forward. Learn from your mistakes. You'll definitely get there, and you realize that this was what you were meant to do. Yeah, that's what I'll tell myself.
Thank you.
Are you a photographer, a videographer, filmmaker, or a content creator? Are you looking for the perfect shot without breaking the bank? Look no further. Christocentric Rentals has got you covered. At Christocentric Rentals, we provide top-notch cameras and gears from the world's leading brands. We have Canon, Sony, Blackmagic, Nikon, and all your industry favorites. Whether it's a wedding, a commercial shoot, a travel vlog, or just a simple shoot, we have the right equipment for you. High-quality lenses, professional accessories, unbeatable prices, and flexible rental terms, all in one place. Visit us today or any other day at Top High near KNUST. You can also call us on the following numbers to make your booking: 0532 670 582 or 0596 844 781. You can find us at Christocentric Rentals on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Christocentric Rentals, professional production assured.